So today we're going to be looking at the my workbench. I haven't actually done a video on my workbench. My workbench is nothing extraordinary, so don't expect to be amazed by what I show you here. But it was brought to my attention. Someone saw the little drawer thing I keep under here and asked a question about what I thought of him, if I liked him or not, and that kind of brought to my attention that I never showed the construction of my workbench. Now, it's honestly not very conducive to like a traditional style of woodworking, but what I have here kind of works for me. I've got floor storage under it, some drawer storage in between the rails and the top, but we'll go through it. We'll spend a few minutes talking about it and show you how it's built. First thing I want to look at, besides the fact that it's completely filthy and needs to be resurfaced again, I want to show you guys the leg assemblies underneath. So I'm going to reset the camera for that and show you how those are put together, and then we'll move around to the drawers and stuff like that. So this structure here, this is what actually holds the top. Obviously the two legs coming down here and here have through mortises that the rails come through. The rails are pegged into place, and that locks them down and stiffens up the two leg assemblies. And then the feet are a single 4x6. This is all pine. Every bit of this is pine. This is 4x6. These are 3x3, and then these are just framing lumber from Home Depot, Lowe's, whichever it was. And that was all salvage. I got those off of really, really huge pallets. These have twin mortise and tenon joints going up into these pieces and down into those. So very, very strong. It's all glued. This assembly is glued up, but the top comes off in one slab. These will pop out, these rails will pop out of the leg assemblies, and then the leg assemblies, you can fold this thing up against the wall basically. Just take it apart and stack it up against the wall. So, and my whole thought to that was that if I ever moved and wanted to take this thing with me, I'd be able to. I didn't want to have a workbench that I had to move as a single piece, but the downside to this is that it's very, very light. So, and it being very, very light makes it a problem when you're doing any kind of heavy anything. So that's the reason why I built this drawer assembly here. And again, this is just pine from the big box store. And these bins pull all the way out these drawers. And I did dovetails on the front for the practice, but and I did it poorly, but I did do dovetails on it. But this entire assembly comes out, and it's basically there for the weight, just to give me more weight to this thing. So this is the drawer assembly. I have 8 drawers. The finger holes are literally just part of a Forstner bit hole that I drilled on the edge of the board. But like I said, I dovetailed the fronts for the practice, and the actual carcass of this assembly is 2x material, 2x12s that I ran through the planer to get it down to about an inch thick, a little more than an inch thick. And I did put I did trim out in between everything, and there are dividers in between each drawer. The center divider is another board of the same thickness as the outer portion of the carcass of that thing. And again, for the weight, and as you can see here, I actually mitered the trim, but there are what do you call that joint? It's a rabbit joint kind of thing. So yeah, like I said, I don't remember what the hell that's called, but this just rests on top of the two runners. There's a board bolted to the bottom of it that keeps it from shifting forward and back. But it can just be picked up, lifted out, and set aside as a single unit. So, and I really, really like it. It real handy. Pull the drawers out, set them on the table, get stuff out of them, put them back. The hardest part is remembering which drawer you put what you're looking for in. So other than that, they're real handy. I left all the imperfections in them, as you can see there in those two. Did not concern myself a whole lot about looks. I didn't even put a coat of oil on this. I did wax the sides of the drawers because they're a pretty tight fit, but that's as far as I went as far as a finish. They were just meant to serve a purpose. I was not sweating looks or aesthetics or anything like that. So I'm going to pick you guys back up and give you a couple of details about the top. And I believe that's going to wrap this one up. All right, so this top I put together just laminating 2x6s that I cut down and laminated up together. I'll put a card right here for the method that I used for this process. Use the same method for this workbench top as I did for my rolling work cart and my lathe station. This thing over here in the corner of the view, I'll move the camera so you can see it. This thing is an old clothes iron, antique clothes iron that I cut the handle off of and embedded into the surface of the workbench. And that is what I called a mini anvil. But it was really when I started doing leather work and I needed a hard surface to put underneath the rivets and the snaps and things like that. Because, you know, this pine top is soft. So when you're trying to set rivets and stuff, it just eats right into this top. And that gave me somewhere to do that. I've since then bought a little 5-pound anvil that I've bolted to the rolling work cart that I can use that for that kind of stuff most of the time. But yeah, this thing I still once in a while, all the stuff I normally keep stored right here, I'll push it out of the way and use this thing. So that thing's actually come in handy a couple of times. This top is not actually fixed to the leg assemblies. It's resting on the leg assemblies. And how I did that was I drilled 2 holes in the tops of the leg assemblies, 1/2-inch diameter holes, and made dowels right here that go down into those holes and keep this thing registered on top of the leg assemblies. So when I say this thing's reversible, if the top gets so bad that it's absolutely unusable, I can literally flip this top over and I got a brand new surface. As you can see, this surface is pristine other than blowout for the dog holes. This has never seen use other than clamps on the edges. Dimensions, hadn't even mentioned dimensions. It's 5'9.5" by 23 5/8. So there you go. Almost 6 feet by almost 2 feet. But yeah, this vise was given to me as payment for a project. And I recently repaired this thing. It's pretty ragged out, but we're keeping her going. So, and there's a video on the repair I did. I'll put a link up there for that. So I built this bench before I started doing YouTube videos, so I don't have a video on the build. But hopefully the stuff I just showed you, I give you a general idea. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. This is my workbench. I appreciate you guys sticking around to take a look at it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.